Just me and my guitar. Is that all right with y'all? Is that all right with y'all, P.A.? Are you sure? So like I told y'all earlier, literally 15 months ago, I was making like $12 an hour. I was the guy that cut the grass in the medians of the road. And I gotta tell y'all, you know, growing up in a little bitty small town, you never really even dream of something like this, getting to do this for a living. And you know, there's nothing at all wrong with punching the clock every day. I'm sure a lot of y'all do that, but just between us, I like my job a lot more now than I did back then. And you know, when I would work for the city, I would play as many gigs as I possibly could on the side. I'd play any bar that would let me play, a lot of times for free. And my first ever gig, it was at a Cajun restaurant that was opening up. It was their grand opening. They gave me $100 bill and all I could eat crawfish to come in there and play for 2 hours. And all I did, I only knew about 5 or 6 songs. And as y'all can imagine, 5 or 6 songs is not gonna last 2 hours. So after I got done with the 5 that I knew, I would just start from scratch and redo the first one and go on from there. They literally gave me $100 bill and all I could eat crawfish, and I got my money's worth of crawfish, I promise you that. But on top of working for the city, I'd play as many gigs as I possibly could. And this particular weekend that I'm talking about, I had 2 gigs at 2 little bars back to back, and I needed guitar strings for my guitar, and nowhere in my little hometown sells guitar strings. I literally had to drive 45 minutes north towards Nashville to get anything to do with music. And I wasn't dating this girl, but we were at that talking phase, as people nowadays call it, right before you start dating. And I'd never been out with this girl before, and I was trying to be slick and kill 2 birds with 1 stone and make a date out of going to get guitar strings. And I called up this girl and I asked her if she wanted to make that 45-minute ride with me and I'd take her out to eat. And she said, yeah, I'll go with you. So we made that 45-minute ride to Guitar Center, and I run in, I get my strings, and I come back out and I hopped in the truck and asked her what she wanted to eat. She said, you know, Shane, I really like sushi. I thought, oh, hell no. As y'all can tell, I love eating, but sushi's just not something on the menu for Shane Profitt. But she was a real pretty girl. I wasn't going to be like, hell no, let's just go to McDonald's instead. So to sushi we went. And we get to the closest sushi restaurant. I punched in sushi near me on my iPhone, and we went to the closest restaurant. And we get there and we go to walk in, and a guy y'all heard of by the name of Mr. Chris Jansen held the door for me when we went to walk in. Y'all know who that is. Sounds popular folk. And I'd been to 7 concerts my whole life, and to see Chris Jansen was 5 of those 7. And as you can imagine, I was about as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. And I ended up going up to him that night, introducing myself and telling him what a fan I was, and that I wrote songs, and that it would mean the world to me if we listened to some of the music I'd been writing. He was sitting there with his family, and before he could even say anything and process what I had just said, his wife that was sitting right beside him spoke up and said, hey, I'm Kelly, I'm Christian's wife, I'm also his manager, and I'm also a music publisher. Instead of a receipt you're holding in your hand, I'll write my email down on the back of it. You can send us some songs and you have our word, we'll listen to them. Because my mama raised me right, I said, yes ma'am, that'd be great, thank you. And Chris Jansen immediately looked up at me and he said, did you just say yes ma'am? And I said, yes sir. He said, I like that a lot. Pull up a chair and talk to me. So I did. We sat there and we talked about hunting and fishing and writing country music and God and really just anything you could imagine. We talked about it. We talked for over an hour, and as soon as I got up from that table, I sent some songs to that email his wife had given me. Well, fast forward 2 weeks, I was at work. It was a Tuesday morning, and I was weed eating. And I felt my phone going off in my pocket. Looked at the caller ID and it said Chris Jansen. I answered it. He said, hey, what you doing? I said, well, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's a Tuesday morning. Like most people, I'm at work. What are you doing? And he said, I want you to go put your 2-week notice in and come out on tour with me. So I did. And He also offered me a publishing deal. Those of y'all that don't know, a publishing deal means you get to write songs for a living too. And this is literally the first song that I wrote when my publishing deal got finalized, because people back home kept telling me how lucky I was running into Chris that night at that sushi restaurant. And I thought about it. I said, you know, yeah, sometimes things can be lucky, but I don't even eat sushi. This is the first date with this girl I'd never been out with before. It's got to be part of a bigger picture. It's got to be a God thing. So I wrote this song called Good Luck in God, and I was sitting in this little bitty room in downtown Nashville with two other guys writing this song. And the morning we were writing this song, I forgot to turn the ringer off on my phone. I had my phone sitting on a little coffee table in the corner of the room, and I kept hearing it ding, 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 ding. And I was like, what in the world? I went and looked at it, and I had 17 text messages from my sister and 9 missed calls. And like any normal person, I assumed something bad had happened in the family, so I stepped out in the hallway and I called her. And as soon as she picked up the phone, I could tell she was crying. I said, hey, what's going on? What's wrong? And she said, nothing's wrong. Her and her husband had been married for over 2 years trying to have a baby, and she found out she was finally going to be a mama right then. So I went back in that writer's room and I said, boys, I told them what happened. I said, boys, we got to rewrite this first verse. And you'll hear it says, after 2 years of trying, she broke down crying because she's finally going to be a mom. Some call it good luck, but I call it God. This is by far one of the most meaningful songs I've ever been a part of writing. And I hope that there's just one person out here tonight that needs to hear it. High school kid puts a truck in a ditch and walks away without a scratch. A man says a little prayer, throws his money out there and leaves Vegas with $1,000 cash. After 2 years of trying, she broke down crying cause she's finally gonna be a mom. Some call it good luck, but I call it God. One is a gamble, one is uncertain, one comes and goes while the other keeps working. One you can lean on, hard times or not. One will get you to heaven while the other one ain't got a shot. And that's the difference in good luck and God. Some of y'all out here may be wondering what happened to that girl you were on that sushi date with. I'm wondering the same thing. Girl I fell for, man, she walked out the door and she was gone in 2 seconds flat. And down and out on faith, man, I prayed and I prayed, but I knew the night she came back. Then one is a gamble, one is a certain, one comes and goes while the other keeps working. One you can lean on, hard times or not. One will get you to heaven while the other one ain't got a shot. And that's the difference in good luck and God. I've leaned a lot on both, but looking back, man, it ain't even close. 'Cause one is a gamble, one is for certain, one comes and goes while the other keeps working. One you can lean on, hard times or not. One will get you to heaven while the other one ain't got a shot. And that's the difference in good luck and God.